Welcome back to another edition of the Gadget Lab Show. I'm Michael Calori.
And I am Roberto Baldwin.
Robbie, you've brought something quite interesting with a very complicated name to show
It is
us.
very complicated. It's a wireless tag. It's actually the most descriptive name of anything ever. It's just what it's named is what it is. It's a wireless tag that you can attach to different items in your house. Now, what it does is it'll measure motion, it'll measure angle, and it also measures the temperature. So you can throw one of these in your refrigerator, and if your refrigerator gets too hot or too cold or whatever, it'll alert you. Now, how it alerts you is it has a base station that connects to your router, and that base station connects to your smartphone, iOS and Android. There's also a web client, so if you don't have a smartphone, you can just check it out.
That's cool. So I basically just strap this to anything in my house that I want to watch the motion of, so like if I have a car or a bike or something, it'll tell me when my bike's getting stolen or when my car is leaving the house.
Exactly. They have some pretty good ideas. Like you could put it on your garage door opener, which is actually a pretty good thing. I had someone break into my garage about 6 months ago, and if I had this, I would have known the garage door was open while I was in my apartment. I could have run downstairs, battled some people, gotten shanked, and they still would have stolen my bike.
So you can put it on your pets, right?
You can put it on your pets. It also will it'll alert you when something goes out of range.
Okay.
So if you have a certain range for the to the base station and you don't want your pet to go beyond that, you can just kind of stick it on their collar. Children, you can put it on children as well.
Right.
And it'll also beep. So if you put it on a remote control, you don't want or your keys, you can attach it to all these things. You can have it audibly beep to find those, and if it moves, it can also beep.
I see.
So since I've been moving around, now it's beeping.
So you can use it. You can have it as sensitive or as non-sensitive as you want.
Exactly.
Well, it's pretty big and it's kind of bulky. I can't really see the facility of anything like attaching that to a remote control. I mean, it's kind of like almost as big as my remote control.
They come with a Velcro strap, so you can strap it around things, and of course it has these little things.
Oh, so you can stick it on a dog collar.
Yeah, so you could actually take these off and use it to attach to things without the Velcro straps. But this is what it comes with.
Right. So to be clear, it doesn't have like GPS in it or anything like that. It's purely based on its relationship to movement and to the base station.
Yeah, so it's movement, there's a gyroscope, angle, and temperature.
Okay. Oh, and temperature.
So if you put it in a refrigerator, you can actually put it in the door of your refrigerator, and it'll keep track of the temperature and whenever someone opens it. So if you have late night food dreams and you can't help it but break into your refrigerator.
How long until they put a camera on one of these things?
I don't know, probably pretty soon.
Well, it's packed with sensors.
It is packed with sensors.
And maybe, I'm sure it'll only improve over time.
Yeah.
How much?
Now they're selling the tags for $12 each, but the base station costs $50. But you can get 255 tags attached to the base station. Not as many. So if you have 256 and you give me a call, I'm sorry. But these are only $12, so you can buy a whole bunch of them, shove them around your house, turn them off and on, hassle the neighbors with them. It's only limited by your imagination.
And how geeky and annoying you want to be.
Exactly.
All right, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Alexander's here.
Hi.
And I was wondering, what is the most popular mobile web browser in the world?
It is a browser called UC Browser.
I've never heard of that.
I'm not surprised.
So what's the deal?
It is a browser owned by a Chinese company, and it's actually the most popular browser in China, in India, and other countries in Asia as well.
So what's different about it than like Safari or Chrome or something?
So it's a third-party browser. It's not something that's built into most phones, and it's a little bit different depending on the country. So they are still in beta or alpha in the United States, but in China they have features where you can zoom in and the text will fit into the screen, which is something that's missing from Safari and Chrome. They're faster, supposedly, is what they claim.
Okay. How do they do the fastness trick? Do they do like what Opera does, where they use proxies and
it's actually all cloud-based.
Oh,
so they say that's how they're able to send I think data from a server, and then it's They're
Squish down
yeah,
and
they
then
squish it down and send it to you.
Okay, so
automatically.
it's similar to what Opera
Right,
does with its
right.
proxy service. Now, on mobiles in countries that don't use Roman character sets, this is probably a pretty big deal, right? Zooming in on text and
Yeah.
things like that. Now, does it make a big difference when you look at English language or Roman character web pages?
I mean, the nice thing is that you don't have to scroll horizontally ever. So you're always scrolling vertically.
Oh,
and
that
that's
is-
obviously a lot easier on a tiny screen like this. So that's good. I mean, on the iPhone browser that I have downloaded, that's not a feature yet, but that is like one of their main features in their Android-based browser, especially in China.
Okay, so the thing that's interesting to me is that there are specific user scenarios that
Right.
happen in Asia that don't happen anywhere else in the world, and this browser is tuned to those
Right.
circumstances. So is it going to be as successful here, or is this just something that like people who maybe speak Chinese and read Chinese are going to want to download?
I think that they're trying to make a browser specifically for the US market. And right now they are, the most popular browser in China, and that's because they cater to specifically the Chinese market. So in China, let's say, red is actually a good color in China. So when stocks are going up, they have a red behind them. But in the United States, red is bad. So
Right.
they have these local teams that basically focus on specific user experiences of certain locations. And so that's what they're trying to do in the US. They're still researching what the US market wants, and then that is what they're doing with their US browser.
That's
So it would
interesting.
be different. It would not be the same browser here as it is in China.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm still curious to download it and try it out because I
Yeah.
would love to see what
Do you
a
want to?
browser invented on the other side of the world feels like when I'm used to one that was invented on this side of the world.
Right. And I think what's different in China is that they mostly access the internet through mobile devices.
Really?
So that's why it's so important for them to have this browser that's fast. And I mean, most of us in the US just like use whatever is built in on our phones. So Safari on an iPhone or Chrome.
So what about tablets? Does it have all the same mojo on something like an iPad, or is there an iPad version?
There's not, I don't think, right now.
Oh, okay.
So they're not really a tablet-focused browser.
So
quite
it's
yet.
specifically tuned to smaller handsets.
Mobile phones, yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of tablets and smartphone applications, we should mention that on Thursday, Facebook announced a new app,
Yes.
a new version of its app.
And it's so fast, or so they claim.
So the big complaint about the old Facebook app was that it was really slow, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact it was non-native code.
Right, it was all web-based code.
All right, so this is a native version of the app, and it is much faster. When you're doing things like zipping through photos, we're using Nathan Olivares Giles as our subject here. But when
big
you're
smiling
when you're
face.
flipping through photos, it's smoother. There's no herky jerkiness that there was on previous versions.
And supposedly, just on the iPhone, the same thing. You can scroll through the news feed much faster. Before it would just, it would take forever to load.
Yeah.
Sometimes so long that I would just close the Facebook app. And now it's 2 times faster is what they claim. For me, I just think it's noticeably faster.
I was always using touch.facebook.com.
Oh,
Their mobile. Yeah, I never used the app because it was just I couldn't stand it. But having downloaded this and played around with it for a few hours, it's actually like I'm finding myself doing something that I never do, which is use Facebook to look
Right.
at other people's pictures and read their status updates.
Yeah.
So I guess in that respect, it's sort of a success.
It is. I mean, it's a huge improvement.
So
it
if you
just took a long time.
Yeah, how long has it been? Years.
Yeah, too long.
Well, you should definitely download it. If you're a Facebook fan, it's something that you do not want to miss out on.
Download it now.
And that's all we have time for this week.
Yep.
So we'll see you next week on the Gadget Lab.